Hello everybody, Neil here from the Four Corners, and welcome to a very laid-back Season 13 Thoughts and Opinions video. No huge Ninjago Season 14 update or a 2021 news drop, but instead we'll be talking about a silly little thing from Season 13 that wasn't really brought to a closure. It's definitely something that doesn't really need to be brought to a closure because like I said before, it's a very silly little matter, but as you know, us LEGO and Ninjago YouTubers have this bad habit of taking small things and turning them into huge things. So first things first, I'm going to cut the suspense and actually tell you what we're talking about. Today's video will be discussing if Gorgran's axe actually speaks or not. Was it all in his imagination, or did the axe actually speak to him? And while we are on the Gorgran topic, might as well take a detour and talk about the culture and settings that Gorgran introduced in his main episode, because he did introduce a lot of cool settings that tells us a lot about how Metalonia is going to work. Starting off, let's get this silly matter out of our hands. Does Gorgran's axe really speak, or is it all in his imagination? Now, I know Gorgran well enough to know that he's not cuckoo. He might be a little overconfident from sometimes, and he's a little bit naive, but he's definitely not crazy. While he does seem a little bit mental, I don't think he's actually that crazy to imagine a talking axe, unless he had this like traumatizing childhood event where he had this friend which was talking to him and that friend died, so he's imagining that friend is an axe. You know, it's all very jumbled up, and I'm sorry if you had to hear that sad story, but you know, yeah, we don't really know enough about Gorgran to actually know if this axe speaks or not. So my final verdict is that Gorgran's axe does not speak, but I mean, it's very possible. Ninjago has all these magical things, so I wouldn't be surprised if Gorgran's axe actually speaks. It's just that we do not know if magic's at play here or if it's all in Gorgran's noggin. I'm gonna say go ahead and just pick the one you like more. Personally, I like the fact that Gorgran's axe speaks, so I'm just gonna go ahead and imagine that Gorgran's axe speaks. If you don't like the fact that Gorgran's axe speaks, then you can go ahead and change your opinion because we really don't have any solid information. Now, coming out of the silly topic and actually going to some substantial stuff, we have the culture of Metalonia. For those who don't know, Metalonia seems to be a part of Ninjago, not sure where it's located because all the maps of Ninjago I have seen have not really located where Metalonia is. But it definitely exists somewhere in Ninjago, and for all we know, Karloff is also somewhere there in some of those villages. Talking about the landscape of Metalonia that we first saw in the Gorgran episode that was in 2D, we can see that it's some type of cowboy slash Viking merge that kind of clashed, and it seems to be somewhere between those two themes. I definitely like that because if you don't know, I've actually made a custom cowboy minifigure series, and I also made a theory talking about how Ninjago could have a cowboy season, so I'm definitely on board with a cowboy land. I do also like the primitive Viking feel that I'm getting off of Metalonia, and overall this whole land is starting to get really interesting. What really interests me is that there's talking lizards here, so maybe that's a Chima crossover. I've never seen a lizard tribe before, but apparently there's a species of lizards that are able to walk and talk like humans, which is kind of confusing, but I guess anything can happen because there's geckos, munts, Shintaro people who definitely aren't humans in the Ninjago universe, and I'm pretty sure a lot that we still don't know about. Here on Real Earth, I'm going to mention something that I just learned in science class, which is that humans are the only dominant species on Earth, but apparently in Ninjago there are many dominant species like geckos, Shintarans, munts, ninja, walking, talking lizards apparently, which is again really confusing. And I actually had a theory that these Shintaro people were descendants of the people from the Oni Dragon Realm, because if you look at people like Faith and Iron Baron, they all have that pale white skin, so maybe Shintarans are descendants of those kind of people. Again, it's my theory mind going completely crazy, and comment down below what you thought of that walking, talking lizard. It definitely set off a lot of things, and it's definitely making a lot of good theories on this channel. I think Metalonia might possibly have a mini Chima inside of it. They have a lizard tribe, maybe a possum tribe, an armadillo tribe. I'm trying to think of all the animals that seem to live on the desert. It's definitely a really good theory, and I'm kind of hoping that actually happens. Coming back down a little for those who don't know Chima, and I'm so sorry, I bet you're so confused right now. Chima was this awesome Lego theme where there were these different animal tribes, and they drank this special liquid called chi, which turned them into humanoid animals, and since then they've been plugging these orbs of chi into them to get more powers, and there's these different tribes of animals all fighting each other, and it's all very fun. Believe it or not, Chima was my first Lego theme. Ninjago was still going at that time, but I was watching Chima, and then I finished the Chima show and I was searching for other Lego shows, and I found Ninjago, and that's how I came to love Ninjago so much to this day. Wrapping up this video, we did talk about a lot of things today, and we definitely got sidetracked a lot. We started off by speculating if Gorgran's axe speaks or not, and then we were talking about Metalonia and its surroundings, which led us to the weird lizard thing, and we were talking about how Ninjago has a lot of species, which then led me to talk about Chima a little more, because we thought there was a mini Chima in Metalonia, which is a little silly when I think about it now. And then that brings us to the end of the video where we're summarizing all this crazy stuff. I definitely like letting loose and just kind of talking about whatever I want in this video, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't boring in any way, and for those who don't know what Chima is, I hope you were introduced to something awesome. Thank you for watching this video, which started out as a Season 13 Thoughts and Opinions video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.